The flight attendant's perfectly manicured finger pointed toward the back of the plane, trembling with barely concealed rage. "I'm gonna say this one last time," she hissed, her voice dripping with venom, so the entire first-class cabin could hear. "We don't allow people like you to scam their way into these seats. Take your bag and get to economy, or I'm having security drag you off this tarmac." Elena Vance didn't flinch. She simply adjusted her glasses and smiled, a smile that didn't reach her eyes. The crew thought they were kicking off a stowaway. They had no idea they were screaming at the woman who had signed their paychecks. Just 10 minutes ago, they were about to learn that the only thing colder than the altitude was Elena's revenge. The sliding glass doors of the private terminal at O'Hare did not open for Elena Vance with the usual fanfare. There were no trumpets and certainly no bowing staff. That was exactly how she wanted it. Dressed in a pair of vintage gray sweatpants, a plain oversized hoodie, and scuffed sneakers, Elena looked less like the CEO of Vance Global, a technology conglomerate worth $300 billion, and more like a college student running late for laundry day. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and oversized reading glasses obscured most of her face. She clutched a battered leather duffel bag in one hand, and a lukewarm coffee in the other. It was a test. It was always a test. Elena had recently acquired Sky High Airways, a boutique airline that prided itself on catering to the ultra-elite. The marketing brochures promised unparalleled elegance, but the financial report showed plummeting retention and a disturbing number of HR complaints regarding discrimination. Elena didn't buy companies to let them fail, and she certainly didn't tolerate bigotry. She approached the first-class check-in counter. The counter was a sleek slab of marble, currently being leaned on by a man named Marcus Stone. Marcus was busy typing on his phone, ignoring Elena's presence. "Excuse me, checking in for flight 7002 to Tokyo." Elena said. Marcus didn't look up. He held up a finger, finished his text, and then slowly lifted his head. His eyes swept over her hoodie and sneakers. The sneer was instantaneous. "Economy check-in is around the corner, ma'am. Kiosks are self-serve, you can't miss them. They're the ones with the long lines." "I'm not flying economy," Elena said, her voice calm. "I'm in first class. Seat 1A. Marcus let out a short, incredulous laugh. He looked at his colleague Sarah, who was applying lipstick. "Seat 1A and your name." Elena Vance. Marcus tapped his keyboard with exaggerated force. Vance, look. Lady first class is fully booked. It's exclusive. Do you know what exclusive means?" "I know what it means," Elena said. "Check the manifest properly." Marcus rolled his eyes and hit a key. His face froze for a fraction of a second. The screen indeed showed Elena Vance, Seat 1A, status VIP. But Marcus's bias was stronger than his logic. In his mind, this was a system error. There was no way this woman was the VIP-listed system error. Marcus muttered, "It says the seat is booked, but it's a duplicate entry. We have a Mrs. Sterling coming in, who usually takes one a step aside before I call security." Elena reached for her phone. "I have a boarding pass here. Digital forgeries are common." Marcus snapped, "Step aside." At that moment, a woman draped in expensive fur stepped up. Marcus's demeanor transformed instantly. "Mrs. Sterling, welcome back. Let me get those bags." Elena watched from the side. She pulled out her phone and sent a text to her chief of operations. "Marcus Stonegate, Agent O'Hare." "Note the name." She waited until Marcus returned to the desk. He tossed a boarding pass at her. "Go, but don't expect the crew to be as nice as I am. They know how to spot a fake." "Thank you, Marcus," she said softly. "You've been illuminating." The aircraft was a Boeing 777 refitted for luxury. The first-class cabin was a sanctuary of walnut wood and gold accents. Elena was the second person to board. Standing at the galley was the lead flight attendant, Chloe Jenkins. Chloe greeted Mrs. Sterling with a hug, but when Elena stepped forward, Chloe's smile was deleted. "General boarding hasn't started," Chloe said, blocking the aisle. "Wait at the gate." Elena held up her pass. "Seat 1A." Chloe snatched the pass. Scrutinizing it, she scoffed. "This is a joke. I don't know how you bullied the gate agent, but this cabin is for elite members. Our clients pay $20,000 for these seats. They come here to relax, not to sit next to." She gestured vaguely at Elena's hoodie. "Someone dressed for a gym session. I wasn't aware there was a dress code." Elena said, "It's an unwritten rule." Chloe hissed, "You don't fit." "From seat 1F, Mrs. Sterling chimed in, sipping champagne. "Chloe, dear, is the cleaning crew still on board?" Chloe turned to her with a fake smile. "Just a minor mix-up, Mrs. Sterling." She turned back to Elena. "I'm moving you to row 45 near the lavatory. You'll be more comfortable among your own crowd. I paid for first class. I am sitting in first class. I am the lead flight attendant," Chloe declared, "on this plane. My word is law. Your very presence is disruptive." Elena stepped around her and sat in 1A. Buckling her belt, Chloe was shaking with fury. "Get up right now. Do not make me call the captain." "Call him," Elena challenged. "I'd love to meet the captain of this vessel." The cockpit door opened. Captain Miller, a burly man with silver hair, emerged. Is this the passenger causing the disturbance? Yes, Captain. Chloe cried she physically assaulted me. I didn't touch you, Elena said. Opening her eyes, Captain Miller loomed over her. Ma'am, grab your bag and follow Chloe off the plane. I'm calling the Port Authority to drag you off. That means federal charges. Federal charges, Elena repeated. That sounds serious, it is. Miller said last chance. Elena reached into her pocket. Chloe flinched, but Elena pulled out a sleek black titanium card. It was an overriding access key for airline owners. Captain Miller, Elena said, her voice dropping an octave. Check the ownership registration of this aircraft. Tail number N702VA, what are you talking about? Miller frowned, I'm saying. Elena said that if you call the police, you'll be arresting the person who owns the chair. You're standing next to the plane you're flying and the uniform you're wearing. Chloe laughed. Oh my God, she's crazy, Captain. She's delusional. My name is Elena Vance. She said now. Do you still want to call the police? Or would you like to explain why your staff is harassing your employer? Silence fell. Captain Miller stared at the card. But Chloe wasn't done, Captain. Are you falling for this? Look at her. Does this look like a billionaire? Miller's bias clouded his judgment. Put the card away, Tower. This is Sky High 702. Requesting law enforcement for an unruly passenger. Potential threat level medium. Police are en route, the radio crackled back. Chloe smirked. 2 minutes. You're leaving in handcuffs. You really have no idea what you've done. Elena said 2 Port Authority officers stepped onto the plane. Chloe immediately dissolved into Oscar-worthy tears. Officer, she pushed me. She's been screaming. The officer looked at Elena. Ma'am, stand up. You're coming with us, officer. Elena said before you handcuff me. Run the name Elena Vance, check the Priority 1 VIP flags. The officer paused, keyed his radio and whispered the name. The dispatcher's voice came back urgent and loud. Unit 4, stand down. Repeat, stand down immediately. That is the CEO of Vance Global. The airport director is on the line. Do not touch her, the officer froze. The color drained from his face. He slowly holstered his cuffs. Ma'am, I was just acting on the information provided. I know Elena said that you were lied to. Suddenly, Martin, the regional director, burst onto the plane, dragging Marcus, the gate agent, with him, Miss Vance. Martin gasped. I'm so sorry. Are you all right? Elena stood up. I'm fine, Martin, but our premium service has been lightning. Martin turned to Miller and Chloe. Explain yourselves. Why did you call the police on the owner of this airline? Chloe was shaking. I didn't know she looked like a nobody. A nobody, Elena stepped forward. So if I were a nobody, it would be acceptable to humiliate me. To lie to the police, I was protecting the brand. Chloe stammered, you are the brand. Elena said, and you just destroyed it. Captain Miller, you are relieved of command. Chloe, Mark, your badges are deactivated. Security will escort you off my pension. Miller cried, you should have thought about that before trying to arrest your boss, Elena said as they were LED off in tears. Elena turned to the cabin. The passengers were silent. She looked at Mrs. Sterling, who was trying to hide. Nice for Mrs. Sterling, it's a shame. It's from a 3-season-old clearance rack. A new crew was brought in within 10 minutes. They were terrified but professional. As the plane finally took off, Elena didn't sit in first class. She walked to the back of the plane and took a seat in row 45. Why are you sitting here? The passenger next to her asked. Because Elena said, I want to make sure the service is excellent in every single row. From now on, things are changing. By the time they landed in Tokyo, the video of the incident recorded by a passenger had 50 million views. Elena had already drafted the restructuring plan. The physical curtains between classes were removed. The exclusive perks were redirected to teachers and veterans. Chloe and Miller were permanently blacklisted from the industry. Marcus was prosecuted for filing a false report. Elena Vance proved that the only thing more expensive than a first-class ticket was the cost of being a bigot. She had turned a moment of hate into a revolution, proving that true power doesn't need a designer label, it just needs integrity.